All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so thrilled to be here. I am so excited to be here. I'm ANGEY. Welcome to the Baddy Overwatch League Season 8 Championship. And guys, I am here with the one, the only, 30. 30, how is it to be back on a mic?
Woo! It feels great. I'm getting all those little butterflies you get in your stomach when you ooh-woo your favorite waifu, or whatever the kids say these days. But I'm very excited to be back. I have been watching this whole season and silently observing the games, and I just wanted to get in here and say my words, and now I get to do it with you, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, let's close the season strong. Thank you behind the scenes to Otterbotter for stepping up, helping us out with the stream this week so we could do this. We're really excited to be here. And I know I just said it a few minutes ago on the pre-show, but I actually have my hopes up for this to be a good match tonight.
Ready for battle.
Me too. I mean, the first two playoff matches, quarterfinals, semifinals, were kind of one-sided. The scoreline from last week, 4-1, was a little bit closer than that, but still heavily in favor of HAREM, who's making a tear through the playoffs here. Now they get to meet the final boss, ANGEY, and they haven't been playing Overwatch, for a couple of weeks at the very least. Let's see if they come in here ready to go or not.
Yeah, so starting things off, Busan, there will be no draws to open this matchup, and the big thing to see here, dreaded DPS on that Echo that we've seen him playing since the character was released very effectively. Let's see if HAREM has an answer, as both these teams are just running straight towards the point to start with. And, just good old-fashioned poke war to start things off as everyone makes their way towards the points. Not a lot of damage going out as Dreaded, maybe the first one. Oh, sniped out Scott. He actually put some good damage down. Cthulhu, and he was the first to fall, is now ANGEY's kind of pressing forward here. They get a second kill, and that's probably going to be first point to them.
Yeah, Dreaded rolling out with the Echo pick. He actually pulled it out of the first week Echo was available in the BOL, which I believe was week 4, and he had a very good performance on it. Very surprising because most people consider him this hit scan main, Widow player, but he's playing Echo to a very high level for BOL standards, and you're always going to have the advantage there when you're going up against a Reaper in a Hanzo.
Yeah, with how one-dimensional Dreaded has been, not to downplay his abilities, but I don't think anyone could have expected him to be this good on Echo, and it's made him so much more dangerous of a player. And I mean, you're seeing it here. HAREM is very scared to press forward here. They are really looking to get some kind of advantage before they go, but now they're about to push in. They do have some ults available, so we've got the Coalesce to come over. Dreaded! HAREM gets Dreaded out of the sky, but a big shatter by Rakudo as we got kills being traded. Wacky to back it down. That's a big kill by ANGEY, but still a pretty even fight here.
Yep. Res comes through onto Blue Senga, so both healers are up for ANGEY. And Dreaded DPS, I mean, Caster Curse, man. I was just talking about how he's playing so great. Gets caught way out of position from his Mercy, but it doesn't matter. ANGEY, they had the ultimates in the pool there. Popping the nano on Rakudo with the big slam, and they'll win another team fight, getting up to 65% here.
Yeah, I mean, this is more or less going to be last fight. It's just been such slow tempo here, but there's a lot of ults available as Graviton Surge onto the point, Dragon coming through behind it. No defensive ults available, but McCree and Marvelous Mel both going down, Rakudo down. That's 3-0 taken by HAREM as now they're pressing on the point. They've got Rakudo. They're going to get some staggers here. I think, Dreaded, the last to fall. That's a team kill.
Yeah, probably it feels good for HAREM right now. They're on the board, right? Started a little bit shaky here in the grand finals, but you knew they were going to win that fight before it even started, right? Graviton Dragon Strike combo. There's no defensive fall from ANGEY, so it should be easy cleanup from there. But the real question is this next fight, right? We're back to ultimates on board for ANGEY. Nano's almost up, but there's Shatter and Grab. A Deadeye on top of it. It's just so much in the...
We are really close to 4 ults available for HAREM defending this point, though, so we'll see what they can do with this. They're not wasting any time. The support ult's coming out immediately. As I heard a hammer down, but now Graviton came out of Marvelous Mel. They're looking to Deadeye. McCree dies, tossing it out. But now, McCree's going to be res. We've been a 6v4, maybe that 6v3 in favor of ANGEY, as Rakudo's made his way towards the points. They're going to win this fight before they flip it, but that might have been GG.
Yeah, it might have. I mean, pretty much every ultimate across the board there was used, but ANGEY getting a little bit better usage, I think, because they waited to hold that nano for the damage mitigation on the Reinhardt on the re-engage. And yeah, looking like they have point control here. HAREM, they're going to have to rush on and try to do something here. HAREM's kind of charged up. He's looking for the grab. Can he get the charge?
Yeah, this is dangerous, dangerous fight. Here we go. Deadeye coming out of Cthulhu, and it takes Dreaded DPS early. If you want to flip the point, that's what you want to see. McCree up on this high ground, very uncontested though, but it may not matter. HAREM putting out some great damage right now. They mop up No Talk We Angie, and they yoink back that point.
Back and forth. A great opening by Cthulhu and you, who, just let's take a little note here. I mean, he's been pretty much on the hard lock Doomfist the last couple weeks here in the playoffs, and it's been playing it tremendously well. But to see him on the McCree here is kind of interesting. It was probably a response to the Echo. But HAREM, I mean, he had to use the grab there. It was last fight territory, but we'll see if he really wanted it for this next fight coming up, because this is it. This last fight territory for both teams.
Yeah, watch out. Dreaded DPS going to be the first online with an ultimate here. Echo up in the sky. Who is she going to take over? As look kind of defensive. He's going to go on to HAREM of the HAREM. Gets the Graviton Surge available, and there we go. Dreaded with the big Graviton Surge. Can they mop it up? The Reinhardt shielding a lot. Recruito goes down for No Talk Miyangi, but now a second Graviton Surge out of Marvelous now, and that turns into a ton of kills. HAREM can weather one, but they can't survive them both, and that's a team kill in round 1 to No Talk Miyangi.
Ooh, this kind of goes to show how strong Echo is right now in the current state of the game. Personally, if I was HAREM, I would be thinking a lot right now in between rounds. Can we answer the Echo? Answer's looking like a no. I feel like they would have already tried to do that. So they're gonna look for ways to counter it, which I don't think is as strong. I think answering an Echo with like a Mercy Pocket is the play here, especially on control. But the question is, can Cthulhu's McCree and can Wacky, can he choose a hero that'll actually take on Dreaded Echo? And it looks like he's gonna maybe roll out with the Widowmaker.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Widowmaker. Oh man, MC Ree hovering the Pharah right now. So they're saying, hey, we know your weakness, HAREM, is hit scan. You guys have not been great at playing hit scan. Wacky does not want to play hit scan. Cthulhu and you hesitant to be off of that Doomfist, although he was playing all right on the McCree. But they're going to go even harder here with 2 airborne DPS picks on No Talk Miyangi. This is going to be rough for the HAREM.
Yeah, the air superiority comp. Yeah, I've seen this. I mean, pros I think are even starting to play this in their dive variations. It's, yeah, Pharah Echo with the Mercy Pocket. It's just so brutal. The poke damage that comes up from all angles essentially is so nuts, and it's going to be really hard for Pie-Time Jesus to try to shield any of this as he goes to bat, swinging at Recruito here, trying to get some point presence for HAREM, and HAREM's at the mid-fight stage now. He's charged up, but he gets taken down with a Fire Strike. Recruito's so good on this Reinhardt.
Yeah, this was pretty much a disaster of a first fight for HAREM. I mean, just picked apart from all angles, like you were saying. Wacky, respecting it, has popped over to the Widowmaker, but there's still going to be a lot of pressure here for Wacky to find these kills fast. McCree and Dreaded DPS were able to play completely different angles there, and, I mean, they looked very comfortable tossing out the pot shots.
Oh, there it is. That's a pick on a McCree, but I was going to say the res right there in the back pocket, so at least you get that cooldown out of the way. Won't see any sneaky reses in the mid-fight, but HAREM, they got to try to approach this point and figure out who they have to take out first here. This tank line looking pretty vicious from ANGEY. Rakuto's kind of posturing in the way, looking for this Earth Shatter.
You know, all starting to come out, so a hammer down only hits HAREM, but HAREM with the charge going to be taken out, and blink and you miss it. Recruito charges in and HAREM all die there.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Chris popping the Valkyrie, going aggressive, headshotting Wacky. And it's looking like all ANGEY here on Busan. At least on this map, the drum map, which I'm forgetting the name of.
The drum map.
Sanctuary. That's
so,
it. The drum map.
When you have one swap here, HAREM saying, all right, shooting those airborne DPS out, it's not working for us. Let's just go back to our bread and butter. Cthulhu and you onto the Doomfist. So let's find out, can this man die first one more time for his team? Is Echo up in the air, taking Zarya again. So watch out, the double Graviton play could be in the playbook here. Is hammer down, going to get one, but now Justice coming out McCree maybe a little too high up there, but it's not going to matter. That's 3 kills for No Talk We ANGEY.
Yeah, it's just clean up at this time. I don't think there's going to be anyone left alive on HAREM to touch in the last 3 seconds here, and it will not be an ANGEY. Starting off the grand finals really strong with a convincing win on Busan. All right, see what we got for play of the game here. Marvelous Mel coming in on the Zarya. So they did the Ryan Zarya mirror matchup the entire map here, and it looks like it's just going to be some juicy right clicks with some very clutch shields as well for the team. But Marvelous Mel and Rakudo, there's been a lot of Orisa play from Notaku ANGEY, like Orisa Reinhardt as a double shield composition, and I'm interested to see if this was maybe just a stylistic matchup, maybe on a control map to mirror the Ryan Zarya, and we might see them go for a more defensive Orisa Reinhardt setup here.
Yeah,
on the next map.
I hope we see HAREM change something, because playing Ryan Zarya into Ryan Zarya is pretty outmatched.
Yeah, that's a good point. Echo duplicating
that play of the
Zarya
game,
both times.
That play of the game was just waiting for the other Graviton to come out first so they could blow what few defensives they had and then get the freest Graviton of your life. Marvelous Mel completely capitalizes on the awesome play out of Dreaded DPS.
Yeah, the multiple grabs there, especially on downtown, was the key to victory. And HAREM, I just don't think they had a good answer for the Echo, especially not the Echo Pharah.
Yeah, but despite that, I mean, they're one grab away from taking downtown. You know, that was 9,900. Obviously, the second point there on Busan did not go quite as well. But if you're HAREM, you're hoping that you can channel a little bit more of that energy as we head into map 2 here, as we are heading over to King's Row for the next map.
Yep, everyone's favorite. I think this has to be the literal favorite of every Overwatch player ever. At least, okay, I mean, I'll say hybrid maps for sure, but I'll just say all maps.
I would say it's a tier 1 map to everyone.
Tier 1,
whether
there we
it's
go.
the literal number 1 or just in that. It's one of those things you can ask someone, like, how do you feel about King's Row? And if they're like, I don't know, I think it's kind of overrated, you come up with a scandal to kick them out of it. There's commissioner insight, folks. If you're ever running a league, keep that one in your playbook.
All right, we'll just get some ready checks here.
Yeah, so let's see here as we head into the second map. Hopefully, fingers crossed for HAREM to pull things together. Real quick, I guess while we have them, I just want to give some shout-outs I couldn't get to earlier. Kaiser with the sub, thank you. And Salvo with the 25 months. I will not thank you. That's what Salvo deserves. But everyone out there, Salvo, we appreciate you. Let us up with some 30 faces, because he's back. He's back, folks. MVP. As we head, all right, here we go. On to King's Row. First to 4. Well, you already got answered in Twitch chat, but you'll hear me in about 3 minutes answering that question again. Also, I think I missed somebody else out there in with the subs, so sorry, you'll have to sub again next month. But here we go, King's Row.
Hell yeah. And so HAREM, so the map selection process, people hopefully a little bit familiar with it now after first 2 weeks. The loser of the map that just played picks the map. So HAREM, they pick King's Row here. It must have been from the hybrid category, the 3 maps that we have available in the map pool. Blizzard World, Hollywood, King's Row. They chose King's Row like every decent team in the BOL does. 3rd week in a row of King's Row. And ANGEY surprisingly chooses to attack first. Which is the first in this playoffs, I know for sure. And when given the side selection, every team has selected defense first, which... Well, what are your thoughts on that, defense versus attack in Overwatch? Starting.
It varies. From team to team that I've been on, even. I think some teams I've had that can't play defense to save their lives, but some teams where we're really good at it. So I'm actually surprised that it's been so consistent across the board with all the defenders playing first. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably slightly favor defending first, because you have an exact goal in mind once you go on to offense. But I think it's kind of a wash.
Yeah, me too. I think for the most part, it shouldn't really matter at the end of the day. I will say though, starting an attack, you could start some good momentum here, right? You always feel better if you do a fast attack better than a strong defense, I think, from a morale standpoint. But Here we go. ANGEY rolling out on the red side on the attack here. Dread DPS once again on the Echo. My boy MC Ree on his McCree. Who knew?
Yeah, one swap here. Wacky Tabaki is over on the McCree for Heron's Harem, so slight change up here as we're having a very long and extended poke war to start this out.
Cthulhu going in for the punch, looking for something, not going to hit anything. Yeah, another switch to take note. He's back on the Doomfist, so he had great success with it in King's Row in prior weeks.
Try
Hope
this
to see it
down.
again here. Yep, there it is. Wacky getting the first blood of the fight here. Heron on this Zarya is fully charged, but Mel's going to answer back onto an opposing healer from Heron's Harem. Marvel's Mel extremely low by the statue here, and the Wacky Tabaki with the zoning Deadeye. But the kills are actually are red in the kill feed here. Cthulhu and you coming back on this Doomfist, but he's going to get taken down.
I can't believe it played out like that, but that was a massive nano boost onto Rakudo, who just hard carried that fight when his team was down a ton. Heron's Harem, they don't spawn in time to get back there. They got a big kill into Jumanfo, and we're not seeing the double main healer comp that we've seen so much of in these playoffs. So once the Moira went down, well, we may not have the time to blink here because Rakudo charging forward. Part-time Jesus has to block him with his face, but no talk Miyangi, they want to push this advantage right now. Rakudo is deep, and it's working. That is 3 kills for NTWA.
What is happening right now? It slept Cthulhu for a slightly extended stagger. They have MC Rias Bastion pushing the cart during that whole time. Rakudo goes for the shatter in front of the full team at 6. And they win the fight. They now get the Streets phase extended to pretty much whatever they want here, and they get to take at least a good position on the second point here.
Well, it's like you were just saying, when you get off to a big roll on offense, you can really generate a lot of positive momentum. Or if you're Heron's Harem, you can be feeling in the gutter right now, because that was a completely disrespectful fight out of NTWA. And now they have Bastion rounding the corner. They have Reinhardt fighting alongside Reinhardt, looking for slams into slams. Kriz with the transcendence here to keep her whole team alive, and 3 kills already over for free unanswered to NTWA. This is a disaster for Heron's Harem.
Oh my god, yes it is. I mean, even okay, we'll obviously talk about the shatter into maybe, I think there might have been a third shatter coming up at very least from the Echo, but the Graviton from Marvel's Spell actually grabs Chris's Transcendence. It takes her away from the rest of her team. So you're kind of nullifying the Transcendence with Unalt to open up for another one. Finally, Cthulhu gonna take out Dreaded, so a moment of reprieve perhaps for Heron's Harem.
Yeah, but he gets punished immediately, although that is a big pick onto Kriz there, so this is advantage 1 for Heron's Harem as they've taken control of this cart for the first time in a while, which maybe gives us a chance to catch our breaths here, because there have been some big swaps. Cthulhu and you off the Doomfist on a Junkrat, Heron onto that Orisa, so we've got the double shield coming through for Heron's Harem.
MC Ree still on this Bastion, but he does have the tank configuration online now. Really the only ultimate at play here for No Talk ANGEY to use the rocket boost to get into the air. Looking for a rocket shot, but Wacky
nice.
in the back line snipes the tank out of the air. You know, as revolvers do.
Yeah, this fight maybe not over though, because the members of NTWA, they're still alive. No, Cthulhu and you boops himself off the edge, and just as I thought NTWA might want to keep this fight going, that is their signal. Marvelous Mel forces out the sound barrier, but that may not be enough to keep Heron's Harem alive, as they are being mopped apart by NTWA right now.
Yeah, it's all red in the kill feed here. Not a very concrete defense here, especially on the third point from Heron's Harem, and that's going to be 339 on the board for No Talk ANGEY. Wowzers, yeah. I mean, that's what you want to see when you start attack first, right? Because the expectations are so high now. Like Heron's Harem, especially if you roll out here and you lose that first fight, it's like, well, shit, they didn't lose their first fight. They just won it. They just kept winning fights. They didn't really even lose a fight on their attack. I wouldn't say like a definitive one.
Yeah, there was kind of a half-ass
on third,
lost a few
yeah.
members
I guess they did cause
reset,
a regroup.
but
yeah,
it was like a soft loss, not a hard loss for
Yeah.
sure. But if I'm Heron's Harem, I was saying off the pre-show earlier, I think their strength is they've really showed a lot of mental resilience in the last month. And this is as tested as they have been now. So I'm hoping they can stay strong, keep their heads in the game here. one big thing to keep in mind, last week against social distancing from the cart, their first defense on King's Row was also a disaster, but they immediately turned around, pushed on attack just about as fast. They ended up losing that map, but it was a 4-1 victory for them. So as bad as it looked at the time, it was not a sign of things to come. That's what HAREM needs to remember here, is they still have a lot of maps to play tonight.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen before in playoffs. I mean, it really just any organized sport. You know, some teams just take a little bit to get warmed up, but once they get in that zone, they're going to start hitting some haymakers. And I think HAREM, I think they have the players to do that. It's whether their mental can stay strong here in some trying times here on King's Row, and we'll see what they roll out with here. Cthulhu and you actually going over to the Hanzo, probably just for some added shield break. Wacky to Backy, unfortunately, gets tagged up a little bit by this Bastion, who Dreaded DPS is now playing the Bastion. Back on McCree.
I really like that swap out of Dreaded. As your enemies are getting a little too used to Echo, no one's going to be preparing for that Bastion mentally. That you have a big advantage, or element of surprise here on defense. And this first point on King's Row, you know, pretty decent place to be a Bastion. So I liked it. It was unexpected. It's forced Wacky over to the Junkrat, nice and early here.
Yeah, and that's actually...
Oh, Dread is down. Both the DPS down for NTWA, and they're going. They do get a res on the Dreaded DPS, but he is in dangerous territory, taking a lot of damage. He gets killed again, and I think HAREM have won this fight.
Oh, yeah. Wacky's going up high, chasing Chris here on the Baptiste. Not able to secure that kill, but Recruiter will go down a little bit late, and yeah, I mean, based on how they died, I don't think Angey's gonna get the recontest at the Arch here. But yeah, a good fight out of HAREM. And like you said right before that fight, Wacky Tabaki switching over to the Junkrat. You know, Hanzo Junkrat basically just going max shield break against the Orisa Sigma, you know, that's shielding a Bastion. And I think that was the right play. And then once the shields were down, HAREM was charged up on the Zarya, and he's been so crucial to this team's identity in the playoff.
They have Grab Dragon available, and there is no defensive ults in this composition. Chris is going to need to be huge with the Immortality field, but HAREM and Cthulhu and you, if they can go online here and look at HAREM, he's sneaking around like a little rat in the back line. He wants to find this Grab Dragon, but he's being forced out, and Dreaded DPS with Mercy support will outduel.
Oh, just goes a little too hard in the paint on the flank there, but here it is. Graviton, Flux, are put him up in the air. Immortality field comes out from Chris, gonna save her team in the meantime, and actually, yeah, HAREM, they actually have to go back on this one.
That was so close to being good for HAREM, but it did not last. And now, here we go. NTWA reestablishing on defense. They're able to hold under this archway. Still, though, a lot of ults available here in both directions at this point. Now, Dreaded DPS does have the Echo ult coming up in a sec here. We'll see who he chooses to copy. Which ult does he want? There's Coalescence coming out from Jumanfo on the attack here. As a lot of these Qs being pressed, Dreaded going to choose to take Zarya again, so looking to go for a big Graviton combo. As HAREM pops his Graviton, there it is, the Immortality field keeping everyone alive. We said that play had to work, and it did not. Now Tyre comes through, and it's big out of Wacky, though, finds a double, and maybe they didn't need the Graviton Dragon.
Yeah, HAREM, they have the pushing advantage now, and they're just cleaning up a few of these staggers on checkpoint 2 here. Dreaded DPS, so he's going to get the return kill onto HAREM, so it's something. I don't know if it's going to be kind of a half-assed attempt for a contest here from ANGEY, but that last fight, HAREM, they just had more ultimates. I mean, unfortunately, the Immortality field negated the entire Grab Dragon, but they had a Tyre on top of it to help win the fight, and here it is, Sound Barrier from Gluba to keep HAREM in the fight.
Yeah, a very anxious Sound Barrier comes out of Gluma very early, but it's a trade. DPS and Dreaded is the bigger trade there. But now part-time G is down as well. We got 4.02 meters to go here as kills are being traded, but HAREM being forced back. And I think that Sound Barrier was way too early, and I think that cost the fight, because there was actually a giant ult advantage for HAREM there, and they just outright lost the fight with it.
Yeah, it's a small timing like that on Sound Barrier that goes from like a nicely used offensive engage tool to kind of a waste, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it only hit 3 members there. It was not the whole team. Don't quote me on the exact numbers. But And that just shows how much pressure that Gluba and HAREM is feeling right now. Sometimes you want to make sure you get that sound barrier off before you have a chance to take a ton of damage that sticks, and you get that instead. It did set up Gluba to switch onto this Ana, though. We got Jumanfo setting the tempo with the early Coalescence again. This is actually sticking some good damage down, but Rakudo, oh, Rakudo, stop doing that to my boys! The massive slam, it does take out Jumanfo, but HAREM still kind of stalling around here as they're trying to press those S keys.
Yep, the duplicate onto the Reinhardt, and they just hold up the right shield, the right click shield, and they just walk towards them. Very intimidating. HAREM, they have to respect this as they get staggered out here on the streets. HAREM did switch over to this D.Va, obviously to try to negate dreaded DPS on the Echo here, and obviously McCree too. Pretty good against that. Maybe can eat up a Deadeye, but yeah, the formula looking pretty strong for ANGEY here on their defense with the Reinhardt Orisa now. HAREM though, they got the Dragon Strike and the Tire again, so two big offensive ults that can maybe get them an opening here, but it's key that they take out the Immortality Field from Chris, and they just launched the Dragons to split the team. Here's the Tire on top, and it's going to take out Marvelous Mel, so that's something. They can at least start the fight from this. HAREM moving in, Dreaded DPS on top, uncontested here. The Valkyrie is popped from Blue Zinga, and the McCree with Deadeye in the back takes out HAREM, and Wacky to Backy, the last remaining member, takes two down with him, but that's not going to be enough. 30 seconds left for HAREM here on King's Row.
A disaster. Yeah, they're not going to have a whole lot of ults as they head into this last fight. And look at Rakudo is, he's playing for the backbreaker right now. He is up on this high ground on the Reinhardt. He's about to drop into an entire team who is not going to even think about looking. Here it is, folks. Press shift. Get charged.
No, was that purposeful? Was this a bait? Or was that just him charging into a wall by himself? And I think it is. He goes down to HAREM in the back line. Wacky Backy goes down, a main source of damage though for HAREM. The D.Va Bomb plopped on through. Gonna take out some accessories on the field, but no heroes. And no talking ANGEY. They go down this fight. HAREM, they should be able to cap the second checkpoint here. Marvelous Mel going down, and last member remaining, and to keep the King's Row dream alive.
Yeah, they keep this game going. Thank goodness for HAREM. Delete NTWA off the map like Zed just deleted the spammers in our Twitch chat. We've still got 75 seconds to play here. We're going to have probably a lot of ults available heading into this fight, but a few more on the side of HAREM. So we'll see, can they roll this through to the end? Is Rakudo pressing the tempo early, only slams one, goes for the charge, part-time Jesus with a good interrupt. As the Tire is going in, it finds none. We have a 1-for-1, Rakudo for Wacky to Backy, but now MC Reed down, and we've got a Nano going on to the D.Va. Blue Zinga going for a very aggro res, gets taken out, and this is all blue in the kill feed as Wacky swapped over to Soldier to make it back to this fight. HAREM maybe has a chance to get some staggers here and just win this right now. Rakudo out of spawn, no, his part-time Jesus slams the hair, but then they set the shields up, they block the bodies effectively, and with a minute to play, HAREM all the way to the end. King's Row is not over yet.
Oh my god. That got kind of tense there at the end. That is some real heads-up play, because HAREM, I mean, part-time Jesus on this Reinhardt, he was obviously trying to go for a body block. I mean, the Shatter, obviously it was his first instinct there, but blocking pretty much all 6 members of Notaku ANGEY from getting to the cart, that's what won them the round with time. So they're not playing for the draw here, folks. They got a minute on the clock as they'll switch over to the attack side first. But man, they really turned it together. I don't know if ANGEY should have lost second point there on their defense. There was kind of some silliness from Rakudo that was going on in the back line.
Oh my god, that Deadeye out of McCree, that fight, I mean,
yeah,
almost broke my heart in two. When it, you had to think at the time that was GG.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's an extreme tilter, right? It's like no one heard this, no one even looked back. McCree just goes for the freest flank on the street, just on the same ground level at 3K Deadeye. That's a heartbreaker.
No, he was up on the high ground.
Oh, he was. Oh,
yeah, he had high ground, and it showed how tense HAREM has to play, that they were so focused on going forward that they had lost track. But now we have a chance for some swaps here. McCree playing his first Ashe of the night. Heron sticking with this Diva. And we've got Baptiste Anna coming through as the offensive healers here. So Baptiste Anna on both sides of the map.
Yeah, interesting. Ashe pick out of McCree. I mean, this is really good when the team's piled up like this from HAREM, right? When you're playing behind a Reinhardt shield, throw the dynamite over, pop it, get a bunch of free ult charge. So maybe looking a little bit more range as well over the McCree. And HAREM, he's going on this flank here on this left side. He's trying to pull some pressure away from the front line. Immortality out of Jumanfo though goes out a little early, but there it is. It's answered back by Chris. So it's going to be Immortality fieldless fight coming up here.
Yeah, it's some damage starting to stick, and there we go. Cthulhu and you takes the killing blow onto Chris, and now with 10 seconds to play, HAREM, they have their advantage. They have to press it as they all move onto this team. Part-time Jesus gets nanoed. Now it is Bob out on the point, but he's going to be immediately purpled. Dreaded gets taken out here. Now Wacky's sending a tire forward. Just looking good for HAREM, but HAREM gets taken out. I don't think that's going to matter, though. We've got a 5 versus a lot. Less than 5, but McCree finding some kills here. Recruito's drawing some nice pressure. He's bought some good time to get some members of his team back, but I don't know if it'll be enough. They are not quite able to stagger MC Ree, who is playing so forward in this fight, but we have the first point going onto HAREM, and it will be an overtime push attempt here. What can they do with it?
Oof, yeah, so they can't leave the card at this point, but just talk a little bit about that last fight. Going with Echo without the Mercy, I think it really hurt ANGEY there on that, because Dreaded DPS, after Chris went down, he was actually in the backline at like 10 HP, just looking for heals. But I mean, if you're Anna trying to heal all 5, especially a madman like Rakuto in the front line, it's going to be tough to spread the heals like that when you don't have that Mercy pocket. But anyway, overtime fight, here it is. The both squares go out, Dragon cuts through the library, Immortality fields for everybody, and no one dies.
Yeah, but ooh, that could be the hammer out of part-time Jesus, but no one's quite able to capitalize on it. Dread did go down in all the chaos though, and there's a lot of low health bars on the red team, and this is actually looking at all HAREM here, as they're not just getting the kills, but looking to mop up. They have to make sure not the C9 here is, you know, it happens. But they are pushed most of the way to second point. Remember, this is overtime, so capping second point not as big of a deal in the scheme of things as it normally would be, since it won't afford them any extra time. And I think NTWA, they may be recognizing that. Nope, they are going to try to capitalize here. They've got a Graviton onto this cart. Can they mop up? Immortality field came out of Jumanfo, kept some people alive as the tire goes in. Didn't find anyone. Gluma and Wacky are down. And NTWA looking like they've reestablished. But Jumanfo does find a nice kill on the Chris. Rakuto with the nano has just been using it to hold right click. And now we have a 4 versus 3. Still a very close fight. But HAREM with his dying breaths gets the Graviton out. And some late mop up comes through of NTWA. Ends that push just shy of the 5th point.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a really good push with a minute on the clock. I think HAREM will take that as a job well done. But, I mean, going up against a time bank of 4 minutes and 7 seconds, this is where the real test will come in. If you're HAREM, you gotta burn a couple minutes off the clock here on point 1 at the very least. But it's really about just regrouping and being able to get a good fight. Potentially, if you get another one at the Arch after first point, that would be ideal. But yeah, ANGEY, what can they pull out here on attack? Dreaded DPS, will he actually pull it out now, Widowmaker?
This shows how enamored we've been with the Echo and everything that NTWA has been doing well, that we're 40 minutes into the Grand Finals, and I hadn't even thought about Dreaded DPS's Widowmaker yet. But I mean, this is it. This is the ace. If NTWA can play this well without their MVP on his MVP pick, this is high pressure here on the side of HAREM to withstand the storm of Widowmaker. Because how many times have we seen Dreaded right out the gate finds two? No, actually, not even Dreaded. He feels that good about this Echo, and we've got Chris going over to the Mercy. What can this double shield comp out of the HAREM do?
Yeah, and they're shielding up Bastion this time around, so taking a play out of ANGEY's playbook here. As they will jump down to contest the point here. Bastion hopefully will follow, but McCree already picks out one from Jumanfo. Gluma gets that res. High ground in the air is going to be patrolled by Pharah and Echo. It's going to be so tough for HAREM to try to get a good defense here going. Rakudo goes for the charge, takes out the enemy Reinhardt from the fight. The fight is completely scattered now. HAREM trying to peel back behind the arch, but it's not going to be enough as Rakudo just keeps swinging. He just keeps charging.
He is, he's content to chase this all the way to spawn, it looks like, as Rakudo is still charging. But Rakudo, the MVP of that fight, he is guaranteed there will be some long spawns on the side of HAREM, which should guarantee there is no contesting of this arch. And now we've got 3 minutes to play, and HAREM with a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like Rakudo is just like hard beating there, but he's doing the absolute best move he could have done, and just to pull them away from this point as much as possible. So they have to regroup around second, third corner maybe of Street's phase here. They don't get that nice choke point to play around, and Cthulhu, he is on the side here. He's trying to take on the 1v1, maybe a 1v2 with the Mercy Pocket. Hanzo versus Pharah in the sky. It's going to be a tough fight for him. Shatter comes through. Immortality Field will keep HAREM up though. For the time being, McCree has the rocket barrage online.
I like HAREM here giving up a lot of ground play. This further from the offensive spawn, as you really have no reason not to. And there we go. There's the pick out of dreaded DPS. We've got the Baptiste window down, Marvelous Mel down as well. And this may have been it. They played footsies for long enough, and it kind of worked. As Chris looking to maybe get killed on the cart here, but this is still a nice stall out from HAREM.
Yeah, and the key for HAREM at this point is endurance, because they as far as the ultimates go, they have to make sure they don't use all of their ultimates in any one fight, because ANGEY, all they're doing right now is they're banking the ults, right? They have 3. They're looking for Earth Shatter and a Graviton. Chris kind of far away from Belgrade, but that doesn't matter. Here's a duplicate. Takes on Heron's Zarya. Trade kills go back and forth here. There it is, the rocket barrage from up high.
Ooh,
picks up 2, and that
both
might
the healers.
that might be it. And I mean, it's gonna be so tough for HAREM to try to get back here installed. They're gonna have everyone on the cart for ANGEY. They're gonna put 4 on the cart, 3 on the cart, 2 on the cart. They're gonna put as many people as they want on the cart, but they just gotta speed it on through here. HAREM is here. He's on the side. He's waiting to touch.
Yeah, he's just shy of a Graviton Surge, but it may come through during the stall. That could potentially be the play.
Oh no, Wacky! I think he might have stole the nano from HAREM. It was going for HAREM, but he takes the nano and he goes to the back line. He gets left, and then he gets killed by dreaded DPS. Earth Shatter once again out of Rakudo, the real Reinhardt, and HAREM not able to put up a good defense here on second point. And with 47 seconds left on the clock, ANGEY start the grand finals 2-0. Woo! All right, play the game. My boy MC Ree on the McCree. What does he got for us? And he's got the flank here. Yep. Oh, that's why. Thought he was on the ground to start with. No, he starts in the air, presses Q, falls down, and takes out 3 little squishies with him. And fantastic play out of McCree. 25% of the team's hero damage, and really showing up as that consistent damage dealer that ANGEY has really had, or is at least needed in this match tonight against HAREM, because we've seen dreaded DPS on some more flexible special picks. Obviously the Echo, maybe even the Bastion, but maybe we'll see the Widow come out. I wouldn't really want to switch to it at this point. Echo seems to be working really well for them, so why fix what ain't broke type of mentality. So with that said, the loser of the map, which is HAREM, they will have the map choice. Because it's the 3rd map of the series, it has to be an assault map, so a 2CP. And the maps in the map pool are Hanamura, Temple of Anubis, and Volskaya Industry. So we'll just wait and see what we get from them.
Onto a 2CP. And you know what? There is no game mode I'd rather play less if I'm down 0-2. Because that feels just so insanely high pressure for what is essentially a must-win map now for HAREM. You know, obviously it won't be the series decider, but you don't think anyone's coming back from 0-3. Or at least I don't. So we'll see here what they manage to do as these teams are still getting set with their maps. HAREM putting a lot of thought into All right, so we got 1 sec here as HAREM now picking Hanamura. It'll be just a moments while we get this set up. So Hanamura, we did play both of the just last week. HAREM beat us SDFK on Hanamura. You know, the hard part of going deep in the season, folks, is my like note sheet is too long to have the full sheet up all at once. So I got to do tabbing and scrolling, and it's very inefficient. So I think it's about time I justify taking some of this Swain money to buy myself another monitor. So, folks, if you want to hit that subscribe button to help your favorite caster afford a third monitor or something else cool.
All right, I am back. What do we got? Hanamura.
Yep, so Hanamura coming through as we've both gotten our tactical potty breaks out of the way. Look at that. The viewers, they would never know because we smooth like water.
Like butter. All right. So yeah, the map is Hanamura. We'll just wait to see what side ANGEY chooses here. Wacky saying he's gonna bust out the Genji. I really hope their mental is not to that point where we have Wacky on Genji. But look at this, yeah, confident once again. ANGEY making it easy for production as well, not having to swap our team names. So thank you. They'll start on attack, the red side. So we'll just get a ready check from both teams and we'll launch right in. Daddy's ready. Okay, here we go.
All right, that's good to know.
So yeah, while you're away, I was talking about how McCree, he's been this really nice, steady, consistent damage dealer for ANGEY, especially in the playoffs here. Whether that's McCree or Ashe or even Bastion, I guess at some points. But we've seen dreaded DPS, you know, on I guess basically Echo for a lot of the playoffs here, but more on some specialized picks here. When do you think they pull Widow out of the playbook? Did they just never bring it out unless Echo is broken?
Do you remember at League of Legends Season 5 Worlds when the entire world was convinced Faker is saving all of his best picks and he's going to just keep playing this Ryze until somebody can beat it? And then suddenly they were world champions and debatably the best team of all time, and we realized the Ryze actually was his best pick. I don't want to compare dreaded DPS to Faker, but is that what we're watching in real time right now?
Yes.
Because this Echo, I mean, his Widowmaker is out of this world, but this Echo has been absurd too. I don't know, man. I hope we see some Widow because Dreaded is just so phenomenally skilled at it. But when you're winning and you have all the momentum, it's hard to justify swapping off of what has been the most successful pick in your team. And I don't blame them if they keep rolling with this Echo all night.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Don't switch from this if it's gonna keep working like this, and it seems to be working. ANGEY, they're gonna roll out with that double air comp again for and Echo with the Mercy Pocket, which is really annoying on Hanamura, right? Because you can dodge in and out of these high wall frames that you have to enter the first point here.
Yeah, that was an early kill on a Wacky, and that's a big part of HAREM that's off the map. And now a lot of low health bodies. Cthulhu and you down as well. Gluba down as well, and NTWA picking up more or less where they've been leaving off with a big, dramatic team fight win and a lot of time in the bank to get this second point.
Yeah, dang, I missed the pick onto Wacky. I'm not sure if it was just poor positioning or some kind of opening made from ability usage from ANGEY, but yeah, unfortunately can't be going down like that. And even if it didn't really matter if Wacky died or not, you could see how spread out Heron's Harem had to be because of the poke coming from the air, right? They were never in one spot as a team behind the Reinhardt shield. And I just think there is a way you can do it with the comp that they're running against this double air, Pharah and Echo. So,
Must be me.
what is, okay.
You ready?
Anyway, I don't know, did I just type that?
Yeah, it says that.
I did not just type that. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Dread DPS, he's on the rafters, the reports, the rafters, and going in. Not a lot of damage. This is a very quiet team fight so far, but Part-Time Jesus is gonna make it a little bit louder. Swings for 2 kills, and Heron's Harem, they will start the defense here on second point.
And they have played some defense. It had been a bit. So we'll see here. They've bought themselves some time in the ult bank, as they're going to have quite a lot of ultimates available heading into this next fight. But obviously, so does NTWA. Which, by the way, can I just say, is production, we have failed that we've gone this far into the season without having some NWA puns to make about this team. There's something brilliant there, and I never thought of it until about 20 minutes ago. And it's too late to come up with on the fly. But here we go, Dread DPS flanking from one side. He has copied the Reaper, and he is just Dread going straight to the whole team there. But he does draw a lot of crosshairs, and that sets up this slam out of Rakuda, who now has been nanoed. Gluba down, as we got this entire team taking the staircase. They've taken out 2, as now Rakudo going for that patented charge on the point. We got Part-Time Jesus slams, but it's I don't think going to do a whole lot, as Wacky Tabaki does snipe Chris out of the air, but this is a lot of members down for the defenders, but they're still playing really well around their spawn, and actually a lot of team members now making their way back to the points. This is actually a pretty even fight. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I don't think ANGEY is taking anything out of it. Actually commits the rocket barrage after McCree gets a couple kills there, but as I say that, they're looking to still fight this. It's just Bluzinga and Rakudo from what I can see. The nice sleep onto Wacky's Tracer, but here's the reinforcements now. Chris on the Mercy, Dread DPS on the Echo. They're back into the fight. Rakudo goes down, their main tank, but Heron trades the life. It's really back and forth. It's not in favor of the attackers, but they're going to keep committing, it looks like. There's the grab.
Yeah, big grab, and that turns into a kill onto Jumanfo, and now Part-Time Jesus as well. And after like 60 seconds on this point, are we finally approaching a first tick? I don't know, because a bunch of spawns have just come through. Heron back to the point, asleep just long enough for his entire team to fall to pieces. As now Heron's just trying to stall in. There has still not been a tick taken by the attackers. Is now Part-Time Jesus back on the point, stalling for time, loses his life, and finally first tick over to NTWA. As we have a nano on the Moira, the die out of Cthulhu does not.
Yeah, and Rez. Oh, no Rez actually. I think it might have been stopped there. Chris hiding to the corner from Gluba's Coalescence, and there it is. Finally, Heron's Harem, they get a hold of everything.
I mean, that was Baddy League at its finest. The weirdest thing is, if you're Heron's Harem, I almost think that fight was worth. You burned, what, 2 minutes off the time clock and you only gave up 52%?
Yeah, I mean, if I was Heron's Harem during that fight, I would be thinking the same thing. Like, hey, they're still fighting. Why are they fighting? Like, we have better spawns. They're just prolonging the inevitable. Surprisingly, ANGEY, I just think out of pure mechanical skill, they raw dog their way into 52%. But yeah, here we are.
Dreaded kind of sneaks in underground, goes for a copy onto Soldier. Wacky on the other side, though, is popping Tactical Visor. Actually, so that was the anti-30 Tactical Visor down there on the low ground, and it didn't do a whole lot.
That's the key. Sometimes you gotta pull out the low ground Tac Visors. Unfortunately, this wasn't the moment.
It was more Visor than Tactical. Is it now Cthulhu and you down, and we've seen NTWA going for their full entry. By the way, Chris on Zenyatta, free reign up on this high ground. That's 3 members of HH off the board, make that 4. And I think NTWA is finally going to finish what they started.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Good approach out of ANGEY there. Quick shout out to the Annas of this match, because there are a ton of sleeps flying around. Bluzinga and I believe, well, I guess Jumanfo and Gluba, they've been sort of switching off Ana duty. And I think it's just because of maybe Gluba feeling more comfortable on Lucio and Moira, where Ana can sort of be filled in with by most supports, I'd say. But yeah, a lot of good sleep darts out of both teams. A lot of charging Rhines slept, or
Yeah,
highly charged Herons as well.
there's been a lot that I haven't been able to catch in the flow of the cast, but the number of times where I'm like panning my camera, I'm like, wait, he's asleep over there. What?
For battle.
It's been happening all match.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, Heron's Harem 118 on the board, 2 points as well. Heron's Harem switching over to the attack, and looks like they're gonna do Hanzo McCree. So wait, they've swapped these heroes between the players at this point, right? Because Wacky's been known for a pretty good Hanzo, at least in the latter half of the regular season, as they switched him to the more permanent DPS role, and he's been playing a lot of it in the playoffs. But now he's gonna do McCree.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them flip this a few times. This is just, I think, they're really hoping for somebody that can snipe Dreaded out of the air, and they're going to aggressively play for that, so we'll see what he can do.
That's true. I mean, you put your better player on the hit scan against the Echo. I get that. That makes sense. But will it even be enough? McCree, he's actually on the opposite high ground on the point. He has a very good vantage point on this Ashe, but Rakudo is going to be the first blood taker. Man, he is so good with these fire strikes. So aggressive.
Yeah, Rakudo, he plays well within the setting of his team. I'm very impressed with how much of it works out. As just good defense here at an NTWA. Keep holding the choke.
Heron's Harem, I think they're just waiting to build the nano on Gluba here. Wacky still a little bit from Deadeye, but oh, there it is. That's the opening pick they were looking for. So they should hit the go button now.
Yeah, W keys. So we see NTWA, they're playing more with the strafe keys. And so we got High Noon coming out. Will it find anyone? Looking like a no. Chris down as well. Now this is starting to be a pretty big advantage on the side of Heron's Harem. They lose Wacky to Backy, but they have everyone else, and they're going to get this late stagger onto Rakudo, send him back to his spawn. McCree not making it out of this one alive, and that's going to be a point. Oh, they're going to get a stagger on Dreaded! They can get a stagger on Dreaded, they can rush down the next point!
Oh, no, it should be a fast spawn. They changed that a while back.
Oh,
yeah,
man, Overwatch sucks!
Yeah, they removed the whole stagger kill of rush 2CP.
Oh, man, what?
Yeah.
That was like the... Oh.
I
was so excited.
I know, right? That would have been a hype moment before, but now it's just like, oh yeah, now it's just the normal second place fight. Yep.
Well, that's fair.
It's fair for the defenders, maybe not fair for the attackers, but we'll see what Heron's Harem can do. Whether they can get a good advantage on time bank here on Hanamura and maybe potentially win this map, that would be a huge turnaround for the series for them.
Yeah, here we go. Dreaded goes up, copies that Zarya. He wants to go for a big ol' flanky grab, but instead he's going to go for a big ol' flanky, lose that health bar. They do take out Wacky Tabaki on this entry, though. And that's going to force pretty much this whole team back, as Heron's now being kind of chased down by Dreaded here. And they're just forced back.
Yeah, Heron took a long walk down the catwalk here, and he went onto the left side. I think he was just trying to push Dreaded DPS's Echo from that flank angle, but it's hard to flank with a highly charged Zarya, I think, especially on a point as wide open as this, right? He doesn't really have any shields, can't play with his team, and I think you always want to pocket this highly charged Zarya, especially if you're trying to get this upper high ground. If you're going to push through, I think you're going to need the Reinhardt shield to do it.
Well, they are playing around a big ult pool. I mean, both teams are at this point, so this could be, one of those big old explosive Overwatch fights. But Heron's Harem, they are very patient on their entry. They look for something, and that something is what I don't know what just happened, but Dreaded and Wacky somehow trade as that Graviton is keeping the map company. But Jumanfo went down, Cthulhu and you is down, and just like that, I think this is a lost fight here for Heron's Harem.
Yep, part-time just wait, actually they got the picks though. They got nearly 52% almost. I mean, we don't get them
C4.5, I guess. By the way,
Yeah.
what, did Rakuto charge off the side? That was off camera from me.
I don't know. All I saw at the beginning of the fight was HAREM missing the grab onto Dreaded DPS, and then Dreaded DPS, I think, self-destructed with his own sticky bombs. Perhaps I'm not.
I
I'm
think
not.
he might have, whatever he did, it must have traded with Wacky because they died simultaneously. So I'm thinking it was a conscious decision, and Wacky just hadn't gotten any damage in the other direction.
Yeah, true.
But,
Yeah.
They did get some ults out of the defense, I guess. Not many.
Yeah.
That was a weird fight.
Yeah, just Amplification Matrix and Earth Shatter. Rakuto builds those every minute. It's like a normal ability. The Nano goes on to Rakuto. Immortality Field coming out of HAREM's HAREM to try to give him some space to walk up here. But they're not going to get any space. They're going to get anti-space. Rakuto just goes in swinging, Dreaded DPS with a couple kills with a left click. And yeah, that was a very fast attack squashed.
Yeah, and Dreaded was really able to pump out some good damage from the side there. Copied Hanzo for a hot minute and then back onto his Echo at the end. And still, I mean, only one ult committed there out of the offense, but only 2 ults committed out of the defense. At some point, you got to actually force a reset here.
Yeah.
Chris has popped over to Mercy, so there is something different heading into this next fight. But this is about to be 5 ult territory. HAREM needs to find a Graviton that hits more than 0 enemies, and there it is. Grabs, sticks everyone up on the high grounds. Now Bob is coming out, and Bob is down! Oh, that is a whiffed Bob, and Dreaded DPS down, McCree down. This could be the chance here. Chris does get this res on McCree, but Rakuto down. This is looking good for HAREM. Remember, they only have a few percent to go here, as NCWA really waited to get on this point, and they will not be able to stagger because they spent so much time playing off the point. HAREM technically with the advantage.
I like how you say technically because, I mean, up until this point in the series, it hasn't felt like HAREM would be able to do that. But, I mean, they did it, and I actually liked the attacks they did here on Hanamura. Sometimes they didn't go too well. I think they were perfectly countered in some aspects by ANGEY. But HAREM, on this last push in, he does a play that I think he's done in at least last week. He might have done it even once during the regular season. You just grab them on the high ground. You just walk over the bridge.
Been doing that play for 2 years. I remember that play vividly from our time a year ago in Baddy Overwatch League Season 6 on DDS. It's a great winning play because everyone feels so, I am so superior to you on the high ground. Look at my tactics. And you just say, you know, fuck your tactics, dude. You know?
Look how we've gained the superior positioning. Yeah, it works. It worked every time I've seen him use it, at least this season.
And it was extra effective because of the way that NTWA was really willing to contest from off the point and give up some percentage to have better positioning, but it ends up costing them there because they had no time to work with, and where you would almost assuredly get some stagger spawns out, they did not.
Yeah.
So now we'll see here. What can HAREM do on the defense? It was not very successful last time, and you have to think on extra rounds of Hanamura, this defense of the first point will probably decide the map. By the way, a draw is really in play here with these time banks.
Yes, it's very real. Dreaded TPS on the Junkrat now. So pulling that out, looking maybe just to fight through part-time Jesus' shield, maybe trying to open up for Rakuto. To get that easy Earth Shatter, but yeah, Red DPS, he's gonna be on the high ground on the side here, but he gets sniped by Cthulhu's Hanzo. So a very good defensive.
Goes from the high ground to the die ground real fast, and now we are in one fight territory as Dreaded is swapping over to Soldier. So we've got double hit scan coming through here for NTWA, and HAREM, they've got to be ecstatic about this. If you have 30 seconds to defend this point, that's exactly what you want to see on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, that's so risky. There is another headshot.
That's a huge pick!
Oh, it's so huge. I mean, it's going to give them barely enough time for McCree to come back into this fight, and they're able to push on as 6. Maybe not even, actually. McCree's just back up. We're less than 10 seconds. Rakuto has to make the approach to the point. He gets the Nano for support. And Nano in the opposite direction. Rakuto looking for the cheese pin, but not going to pick it up. And he goes down swinging. Marvelous Mel without the tank duo here. What can she do? Not a whole lot. The Dragons come through to finish this one off. McCree doing his damnedest, but it's not going to be enough. And it's going to be a full hold here on the second time around for HAREM.
All right, HAREM, this is it. You have 90 seconds. What can you do with it?
Score 2-2.
I think they can draw. Well, okay, so
that feels really realistic.
yeah, it does. With how these teams have played. Based on the last few rounds, Wacky and Cthulhu, they'll run out with Hanzo McCree, right? But I think the real ticket here, the real answer is, what does Dread at DPS play? I think if he rolls out Echo with the Mercy Pocket, I just don't think McCree, Hanzo, and whatever they're bringing for the support line, I don't think it's going to be enough. If Dreaded plays this well around the cover, especially around these like multiple pagoda things we got going on first point, it's so easy to dip and dive out of cover.
What if it's Bastion instead, though? Nope. They're thinking this over, and he's going to go with McCree. So I was actually going to say I didn't like the Bastion, so I'm happy Dreaded swapped off of that. This, to me, feels like prime Widowmaker territory.
A little bit, and
Wacky here's the call. They're gonna go for a Widow pick into a Symmetra Telly and hope for the best.
Okay, so the idea here is, you rally around Cthulhu, everyone except for Wacky, they teleport to point, and then Wacky should have the open sight line from the choke. Really, Wacky just needs to get one pick. There's no mercy on the side for ANGEY. So any kind of miracle pick Wacky can get, some kind of crazy jump shot, the better.
Okay, so here we go, Wacky going up to the window while his team draws sight lines away. The first shot's not going to connect out of Wacky as Rakudo charging defensively. Cthulhu and you did get picked on this entry here, but his team not really going to be able to back out here, and that's great for NCWA.
Botch teleporter, but it looks like HAREM is able to escape this fairly cleanly. It should just be a soft reset here. Three people still alive, but I mean, it's still 2-fight territory technically. Depends on how long this next fight goes. You would have really liked to see that first teleport work, and maybe you can get a tick out of it. Oh, actually, a tick would have been the win, but okay, I think they switched off of it. Cthulhu's on Hanzo now. Wacky's on. Wait, they switched to Junkrat too.
Yeah, so they're going with what's right now is a gigantic Blue Zinga may have just forced the draw with that grenade.
Blue Zinga once again, dude. She is so good on Ana. It's insane what she has done on this hero throughout the course of this season, and even the last one. Kind of my pick for all-star support here, but HAREM, they got full health bars. They have a little bit of a shield. They're moving in. 10 seconds remaining, and Matrix comes out. Part-time, he just charges through it. I'm a projectile, right, guys? Does not get amplified, and they have to pocket him from across the yard.
DPS is down. Dreaded DPS is down. And this buys a lot of time. HAREM is able to get in there. They do trade for Glooba though, but they still have a main healer available. But oh no, there go their tank line. Can this tire come through? It can. McCree going to get the last staggers, and that pick on a Dreaded doesn't matter. Folks, welcome to Overwatch at its finest. The match is still 2-0.
Yeah.
So the play of the game, gonna be Rakudo here, charging into a wall.
Yeah, missed Fire Strike on the whatever. Don't look at that. Look at the swinging. Look at the damage.
That feels like a play of the game worthy of a draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on the plus side, we won't see another 2 CP until map 7 of this series. Or, no, after 4, they can just pick out of anything, can't they?
Yep. So, we got one more game mode that we for sure have to play tonight, folks, and it is Escort. Junkertown, Rialto, and Watchpoint Gibraltar are the maps up for pick here.
And so, just to confirm...
HAREM's pick.
It is HAREM's pick. Okay, that's what I thought, so... maybe for anyone tuning in that hasn't been catching up on much of the playoffs, pretty straightforward how we're doing maps for the playoffs is these teams, they have to play through the 4-game mode through the first 4 maps, and they alternate who gets to pick each map. There's no map banning or anything. There's just we have a map pool of 9 maps available, so 3 from each game mode. They pick back and forth, and then after 4, they just pick back and forth from any remaining maps. So we're about to play an Escort map here, and then after that, it will just be trading map picks of the maps that remain. Yo, what happens if we get through all 9?
All 12? Is that impossible?
Oh, wait. Shit, yeah. I
hope so. I mean, This is just straight out of the Overwatch League playbook. Now, if there was a fucking scenario where you just ran out of maps, then shame on them. But
I say
yeah.
at that point we end the season. We give SDFK the championship for not
Yeah.
wasting our time with 12 maps.
Both teams are penalized for delay of grand finals conclusion.
Treason against the Baddy League.
All right, and we go to another fun one, folks. Here we get Glooba, check your DMs, but we got Junkertown coming up. Let me get some side choice here.
Yo, real quick, while we have a moment, I just want to say, in addition to your Twitch subs, you can also support your favorite commentator at onlyfans.com/AJS0. I've been putting out a lot of really good exclusive content, so I hope to see you all there so you can see more of me. Winky face. Oh, look at that. You can watch the beautiful draw in real time because we're still between games. I forgot how much I hated this feeling.
Correct. You're all banned from the Harem. We got ready from Harem. Ready, ANGEY? Question mark. ANGEY, ready. I'm looking. I feel like I have not seen an R from this team. Ready. Okay. We're starting it up, folks. Jeez, herding cats over here.
All right, folks, on to Junkertown. I love this map, man. I know it is a divisive map, and I've always said that the best art must be divisive in nature, and Junkertown accomplishes that.
Yeah. So this, I remember this because this is how I remembered my fun fact earlier. The dreaded, he's playing Echo back at, I think in week 4, whatever regular season week Echo was released, and it was on this map where we saw a bunch of teams try out Echo for the first time, and it was very clear Dreaded had put the time in and learned the hero more than every one of his counterparts in this league, and it is a very good map for that. When you're not going up against some sniper master, like on a Widowmaker, or even like an Ashe as well. Very long sight lines here, and I just don't think ANGEY fears the hit scan coming out of Harem. But as I say that, they're gonna maybe opt for a pirate ship here. Start it off on attack.
Yeah, I had a thought before the last map that ended up not being relevant because I was thinking in terms of whether Harem wins or loses. I'm wondering do you think there's a point where they are going to swap roles and go back to Wrecking Ball, or is that completely out of the question?
I think if they lose this map in a horrendous way and they're just like, GG's guys, it was a fun season, then I see it.
So there's no chance of winning. You think, oh, Dreaded DPS does not even make it out of the gate. I love this. This is another Harem special. Just pulled right up against their spawn.
Yeah, it's actually the best counter to a pirate ship, right? Because the most dangerous part for a pirate ship is that the however many feet from that spawn door to that cart. Getting the Bastion plop down on that is integral to the entire strategy, and if you don't let them do it, they can't really start.
They do manage to get a pick on a Cthulhu in you, though, and that will probably buy them some time. I don't think the surviving members of Harem's have any way out of here. They should, if they're going to give this up, die on cart. Don't give up any ground. No, here, don't back off. You can't make it out of there. And this is, I get so mad at Overwatch players. You're smarter than that. Die on the goddamn cart.
Yeah. I mean, that is for sure. You just gotta run in and die. But granted, I think what he maybe had a lot of charge. Those Zarya players are like, my charge, keep me up, heal me. I'm 80 charge. I'm the hard
Well,
carry.
Or zero charge as they defend the second point here as Heron still lost his life and also gave up valuable inches. And Heron of all people should know that a few inches can make a big difference in your life. Now we've got Bastion set up pretty far back here. We've got a nice far away little... no one's going to touch this.
Nope, not a single person.
That was a disaster. That was atrocious.
Yeah.
If you're not tilted after the draw, you are now. Because now you're going to just get wacky out of his spawn with it. Or sorry, dreaded out of his spawn with an ult available.
Oh, well, at least they're pushing in after the fight because, they realize it's still good to take the fight if they have an advantageous one right now. And it looks like they kind of did, but now they don't.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think they needed to just get right out of there because any staggers here are going to be so massive. And they're much better trying to hold an actual defensive position. Now they're just giving up some long staggers, and now they're going to give up halfway to point 2.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that that retreat wasn't good, but it looked like they had already committed to the late touch. They should have just ran in and like charged at their doors or something. I don't know, but you're right. This is not good now because they miss the key defensive point here on the high ground on these staircases that the plane's rolling by right now. So they're just going to get some crappy high grounds over by the scrapyard sign, and the tank form's going to zone off, at least maybe kill the Reinhardt shield. And there's the Matrix on point. Bastion's going to go down, but this tire might be huge. Immortality field? Not there.
Dreaded, you take that. And now here we go. Heron comes out with the grab. And that has brought this everyone to press their Qs. Finally, Heron's HAREM is done fucking around holding on to their ults. They press 4 of them and they retake this card.
Yeah, interesting. I'm just watching Dreaded DBS. He's still at the cart with the Ant Matrix, and he's just rolling in solo. Where was his team? It looks like they just weren't able to get close to him, and they took the fight away from the cart. And they had some ultimates. I think they could have clinched that fight if they wanted to. But Heron's HAREM, they're expending the ultimates. They're getting the team fight win, which is good for the stopping the clock, or stopping progress at the very least here.
By the way, Wacky Tamaki's still back in spawn. He just swapped to McCree. So he wanted to swap, and Heron going to be picked out early here. So now this is a 4v6 for a few moments as Wacky's just making it into the tunnel. Immortality field no longer available for the HAREM. But oh, there we go. The pick on a Dreaded. We got even footing on this fight. If they don't get this res off, but they do. Good play out of Blue Zynga. Now Cthulhu and you down. This is a lot of more damage is sticking onto. Well, no one really. But Cthulhu and you still dead. As this is turning into a very long fight.
Yeah, and there's a lot of damage amplification across the field. Ant Matrix answered by a supercharger, but really good work out of Heron. He squashes the supercharger in like 2 seconds, not getting any kind of value out of that. Dreaded DPS duplicate on the right, charges in, goes into the backline. He's swinging, but he gets slept by Gluba. But it looks like it's still a big numbers advantage here for ANGEY. Just the tanks alive now for Heron's HAREM. With some support from the sidelines, can they hold on? Oh,
Blue Zynga, you toxic Mercy player. This high ground right above point 2, I've seen both of the NTWA healers flank up there for extended periods to lay down some DPS, completely unpunished.
Nice, okay, good res on the sideline here, so full strength for ANGEY as they roll into Fidget Spinner time. Kriz contesting on the high ground here, gonna get pushed off by the D.Va and the Ashe here. Part of Jesus, that's a crucial pick. Gonna be kind of a long walk back here for McCree.
Yeah, Heron's drawing some really nice pressure here. I know I was jokingly roasting his D.Va, but he was doing some really good things as D.Va on this last point. But on the other side of the fight, Rakudo going to bring everyone up, bring them back down, and lose Kriz in the process. But still, this cart keeps inching forward. As now the Dragon comes through. Hammer comes through at a part-time Jesus. Now, we see a lot of Qs committed by Heron's HAREM. They do not want to give up much ground. They did lose Cthulhu and you, but they've gotten a few more picks of their own. Is that Bob doing work in the background? Bob, do something indeed.
Oh, man, dude. Bobs are not a threat until they are, right? Because at the beginning of the fights, usually you're using all these abilities, you have shields, you have some defense faults, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, we can leave him chill in the background. But at the very end of that fight, they ran out of gas. They had nothing to defend themselves, and Bob picks up 2 free kills on the backside. And Wacky Tabaki on this Ashe has actually been pretty potent here. Getting a lot of good picks, a lot of good headshots, a lot of good damage from him. As I say that, Caster's Curse, come on!
Yeah, Wacky now is 0 Ashes to 2, and Dreaded DPS is a very good Ashe, as we are aware. His Bob goes out, gets left in the background, his Heron chucks a bomb up, and it's going to find Chris. That was something, as Dreaded finally loses the life, but that Bob he sent out did some, at least created some pressure in the backline. Meanwhile, Rakudo playing very far forward of this Monkey. Bluzinga does get a res on the Chris as the Monkey loses his life. But this cart is still kind of inching forward here, as we got a real strange fight coming out. Dreaded DPS putting some good damage down. That fits into a kill on the Cthulhu. His Heron's out there trying to stall, but he's losing a lot of mech power, but doesn't quite lose the mech, and that's big.
Oh god, Heron he's taking so much damage in these fights. It's really absurd. He's just going to the back line and trying to distract as much as he can, but he gets demagged here on the front line. Rakudo switching over to the Winston, so we might see some primal fun time here. Bob going down onto the point, putting some good pressure out from the attack side, and looks like he's gonna pick up 2. Dreaded DPS with a couple more on top. It's all red in the kill feed, folks, and it looks like Angey's gonna roll into point number 3 with 43 seconds left.
The most painful thing about that is what a disaster the first 2 points were for Heron's Harem, and they still burn that clock all the way down to 43%. You have to think that this is just an outright good map for them, and if they hadn't played such piss poor macro, they may have had a huge defensive round here. Yeah,
a lot of what ifs, right? Because first point can kind of break people's mental, right? There's only so many attacks you can do on Junker Point first, that if you just keep throwing your head into this last point, but you keep getting sniped from a Widow flank, or you just get ulted on it can be very frustrating. But yeah, Heron's Harem, I agree, doing a very good job here on the defense, despite their bad opening here. We'll see what they can do. It looks like they're going to answer with a pirate ship of their own, with Cthulhu and you on the Bastion. Wacky once again on the Ashe, which I think is probably the good hit scan pick for this team. McCree was all right, but I just think he's not mobile enough, right? And he just wasn't getting enough protection. Perhaps just didn't have the pocket sort of go toe-to-toe with this Echo in previous maps.
Yeah, we'll see. Meanwhile, on the defense, fight Bastion with Bastion, they say, as Dreaded DPS is going to get out here. And this is a setup. Dreaded DPS going to try to not let it go. Hard time Jesus goes down first. But Heron does at least have the cart moving, and that's a big deal in this situation, as it buys some space for his team to get out the door.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a small win for Heron's Harem, right? Just moving the cart any amount here, because Anki was forced to reposition here. Dreaded DPS able to get out of that recon form, or out of the turret form, and reposition there, but not enough. Shields go down. Part-time Jesus.
There's a res available though. Bluzinga gets the res off of Bluzinga, and McCree and Pevos now go down in the process. Bob is doing something in the back, and oh my god, Wacky Tabaki looking like a grand master with that one.
Oh, hells yeah. He is opening it up. He is feeling alive and fresh now. He's hitting the shots he needs to right there. That was all him on that attack. Yeah, the res was really sneaky. Bluzinga once again with an incredible risky res, and that if that actually came up and stuck, that would have been still a good defensive hold. But after the dynamite and everything, just wasn't able to follow.
Ultra dies on the entry, and there we go. This is the chance for Heron's Harem to maybe grab something big here. Bluzinga down as well. That is, oh my god, Wacky. Show me your Ashe, girl.
Yeah, oh, nice. Yeah, it's all blue in the kill feed on this attack here. Heron's Harem really figuring it out here with Ashe and Bastion.
Sometimes you just need 3 maps to figure out what your pick should be. Unfortunately for them, there's only been 2 points given out so far. You know, in the match scores, so they take those. And there's still a lot of ults available here. I mean, this is they've hardly ulted at all. Either of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Wacky's he's working on a second Bob, I think. So he's been putting out a fuck ton of damage, but Bob's not too great here, especially if Angey's gonna keep this high ground. He might look for something sneaky. But Heron, he's coming in with the Sigma ult, picks up a couple, but the immortality field.
Oh, Rakudo.
Oh, double
huge
Sigma ult.
slam in the other direction, and that just wipes Heron's Harem out, and that may be the end of this pirate ship.
Yep. Bob was expended as well, no tank form yet, but I think switching off Bastion is the play here.
So are they going to keep the configuration tank is the only question, because they could have 4 ults available, and if they reason up there, not fucking around with it.
Yeah.
They
It's
still
the
do
safer
have 3
choice.
ults. All you good Overwatch players really like configuration tank less than I do. Here we go. Got double supports available for Heron's Harem here, as well as the battery from Orisa. Not the most impactful ults to start a fight with, as we do see Gluba going up into the air. Now, ooh, Wacky gets picked early, though. That's not good. Now a Tire coming out of Dread DPS. They have a chance to end this push before it goes anywhere. As the res comes through onto Wacky, the Tire gets taken out. Now we do actually have a 6 versus 6. But, oh, as I say that, Heron cast their curse. But this cart's still inching forward.
Yep. They are down to Roadhog, though. Heron switching over to that before this last fight. Which I think is there just for more shield break, right? I mean, they have Hanzo as well. They're really just trying to get maybe the shields down and maybe force a pick on this high ground. Rakudo's gonna hit the low ground here. He's gonna contest the cart. Heron is back now, so full 66. There's the supercharger to open it up from Part-Time Jesus.
Yeah, here we go. Another big slam out of Rakudo. Creates a lot of damage, and it turns into a kill onto Heron.
I don't know. I don't think I saw an immortality field out of Juminfo there.
Yeah, I think I missed this one. This is kind of a nice late stagger on the Part-Time Jesus. As by the way, shout out to Twitch for changing where my ban button is. I cannot find it and cast at the same time.
Oh yes.
We're a big deal, folks. You want to add viewers, you can buy them.
Yeah.
Woo! So we got Part-Time Jesus coming through here. Back to the Reinhardt. We got a minute 50 to play on the second point right now, as this defense has been turning very good. As like we were saying before, this is a good point for the defense to set up. Now Glooba going up in the air. Bob going to go into the back line, try to turn some eyes, but Heron has already been picked out. This Bob not quite doing enough. He's maybe a little lower than he wants to be, but actually this cart, we are in danger of a C9. This cart is moving, and now it has to be a retake. If they can body block members of NCW at the top, oh, they just barely get there in time, but this is still a contested fight. Dredden comes through big, and with a meter and a half to play.
Oh my. Heron's Harem, they started that fight really well, I thought. They were winning it. Questionable Ant Matrix below the high ground, but it turned into Anarchy real quick, and then I think they just made the decision to just go for car push, hope for the C9 and body block. And we're down less than a minute. Yeah, it was very close. That could have worked.
So here we go. Oh, Cthulhu, and you picked out early, and that is exactly what you don't want to see. That res has to be used before this fight breaks out. But we got 40 seconds to play. This is presumably last fight, barring insanity, which is always on the menu in Overwatch.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Heron's Harem is really playing cautious here. This is maybe one of their strong suits. They do play well around playing patience.
Yeah, Heron, he's looking for this flank. He's trying to come up the staircase because he wants to be in range to use the whole hog.
Marvelous Melt does get picked, and Heron on the side. He gets the hook and the
There
kill
it
on the
is.
Dredden. 6 versus 4. Let's see what we can do Mordekaiser style here. Is Heron's Harem moving in on this card. They get a kill on the Chris. Now that is a disaster, as Blurzinga looking for a miracle res does get Rakudo. It actually holds on to her life, but I don't think it should matter. Just make sure you do not step off at this point. It's just Part-Time Jesus on the point. We're in overtime. Part-Time Jesus. Okay.
Oh, that okay. Yeah, I could see that was a little bit risky just for Reinhardt to be on the point there. But yeah, a well done
You know how
fight out of
Reinhardt
Heron.
feel about their W keys, and I saw him starting to press it, but all's well that ends well. Now we got 80 seconds to play here. Heron's Harem looking to force additional rounds.
Yep, and there Heron on the big boy hog here. He's doing it again. Really big flank there on that last point. Once he actually got access to the high ground, he fought through all of the abilities. He got 2 picks on the catwalk, and that's all he
there
needs.
it is!
There it is!
And now he's whole hogging in the side. He forced the res, so it is still 6v6. But Harem holds on to his life as this is going on, as the tire comes out of Dreaded. And this is going to be tough. As this tire comes towards the point and takes out part-time Jesus.
Oh, but can they actually create the space for the reds? Glooma's going for it. Yep. There it is. No! Oh, so risky, but at the end of the day, it's actually not good at all because he just waits even more time for the respawn, technically. So 30 seconds left. This is last fight territory, right? It has to be. You have to work all the way around Fidget Spinner here. It takes forever. Heron on the hog. Look at him. Look, he's in the back. He's just waiting for this hook. He's been able to get a hook kill every.
It's Chris again! It's Chris again!
Yeah, but is there a res? The res is up. Bluezinga gets the res off, so the flank doesn't matter. Heron goes down. Rakudo with the flux picks him up. No one goes down. Back into a hold and Matrix for the blue side. Harem trying to get the damage down, trying to kill the shields here. What can they do? But it's all red in the kill feed.
Yeah, Chris on the flank trying to mop this one up. They do get a res on a Wacky Tabacky. Can this high noon find anything from MC Ree? I'm thinking it can. And Heron's Harem, it was valiant for a while, but not enough. And NTWA, they really clutch this Junkertown out in a nail biter, but they take Junkertown. They take the 3-0 lead.
Yeah, and it's going to be a heartbreaker, I think, for Heron's Harem because they looked good on the draw, looked pretty good here on the start of Junkertown, but what do we got? We got Wacky Tabacky on the Ash, though. This is a cute little 4K he had on the first point here. Throws out the Bob. Just a lot of good headshots. Holy moly. Hitting the shots.
Yeah, and I just 43%. Goodness God.
Yeah, that's a nutso stat right there.
Epic. Just getting started.
But yeah, I mean, if you're Heron's Harem, you'd really had hoped you could bring that map onto your side of the win column, because now it's looking tough. But the advantage, I think, is you've maybe fought through some of the game modes you don't like, and now it's all open to them, right? Loser pick, so Heron's Harem gets to pick any map remaining in the map pool, regardless of map type.
Yeah, so we'll see. They have a lot of questions to answer here. I mean, I don't know what the pick is if I'm Heron's Harem. But we are... As long as I don't hit my mute key. We're heading over to Hollywood. With ANGEY figuring out side. I hate to keep hammering on the way Heron's Harem gave up that first points of Junkertown, but I mean that felt like such a swing in good fortunes that they could not have afforded a mistake like that.
Yeah, and ANGEY, they play pretty mistake-free Overwatch in regards to the Baddy Overwatch League. I have seen a few blunders from them tonight, just
Actually,
from casting.
Can I disagree? I think they actually play relatively high risk and high mistake. It just, they have such a skill differential on most of their opponents that it hasn't mattered.
True. I think there is kind of a diff in some roles. In the main tank category specifically. But I mean, maybe I shouldn't say mistake-free. I should say fundamentally sound Overwatch, because I think their ultimate usage has been fantastic. I think that's won them
true.
a couple
They
fights.
have had incredible ultimate usage. They don't overcommit their ults.
Yeah, and I feel like they always have a plan before they attack, and I feel like they have like a checklist on what is happening in a defensive fight. At least they have triggers and be like, hey, you know, if they get aggressive, you pop the nano on Rakudo type of thing. But yeah, I agree with your point there. Basically, is that pure mechanical skill seems to be the difference in a lot of these fights.
When I think of how Heron's Harem has played, and especially how they've won a lot of the time, I've thought of them as the mistake-free team, but not in like the really explosive sense, but the really slow and grind it out and just rarely giving up any substantial advantages that they don't need to. And when you play that way, when you grind out so many of your maps, you can never afford big mistakes because you've been winning on such thin margins.
True. Yeah. It really cut it close. And let me just go back to your original point. The whole point with the Junkertown failed defense, just something that small, something that key can make the difference.
So now we'll see here. Can Heron's Harem do something that would put them down in some real Baddy League history? To come back from 0-3 in a first to 4 finals would just be pure madness. I have to think it's probably not going to happen. I'm going to be honest, but until it's over, it's not over. And in the last few years, we've seen some pretty crazy things happen in sports. So let's see if Heron's Harem can add themselves to that list.
I will say though, Wacky seems to be coming fully online. He's got the game fuel juicing up his veins. He's hitting the shots on Ash here. If he can sort of pop off, it might be enough to at least get his team in a better position to win this map. But it's going to take everyone. It's a team effort, and Heron's Harem, they need to really come together strong as they figure out how to hold Hollywood here. They're going to be on defense on the blue side here. No Taku ANGEY on the red side. Pretty standard stuff. It's a double air comp, and Cthulhu actually, getting the snipe out of the air with the arrow. Good stuff there, but there's always the res at the back pocket. And it's back to a 6v6.
Let's see what Wacky can do on this Red Riding Ash. Just keeps picking away. As some damage kind of sticking in both directions now, as we see NTWA have made their way almost fully out of the point. No, they're playing footsies here. They're trying to get some damage to stick.
Oh yeah, McCree's going on the alley flank. I mean, just pushing and pulling the Heron's Harem defense from side to side. Where do you need to be? Where do you need to block these rockets? Where do you need to block these sticky bombs?
Yeah, no, that's 2 big picks that, out of McCree. Gets Wacky to Backy as well, so no Wacky heroics in this fight. Crudo gets the hammer. Why not use it to mop up? And once Heron's Harem fall, they fall apart hard. And that's first point going over to NTWA.
Well, fight like a team, die like a team. That's important in Overwatch, so glad to see them do that. And DPS, he's looking okay. He's looking fine. He's just gonna glide on away. Why is no one looking at this guy?
No one expects him to be pushed there, I guess.
Wacky over to the Widowmaker. So makes sense. Widow very well known for Streets Face on Hollywood here. A lot of good angles, a lot of good jump shot opportunities. But can he really land the critical headshot, right? Needs to be on Defera or Echo, or honestly, I mean, the best would be Mercy. That way you can deny the res, but it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, Chris is playing so well. But there we go, a trade. Heron for Dreaded, so this could turn into something. But
yep,
that something's just the res.
Yep, and the battle on the ground, though, Nano comes down into Part-Time Jesus, Immortality Field used early. And Chris picking up the kill onto Wacky, the duplicated Reinhardt, Dreaded DPS, he's going in, he's swinging. And he's going to clear off Heron's Harem from the point as they're looking to cruise in for an easy point, too.
Yeah, it's just turning into a disaster here for Heron's Harem. Is Rakudo doing what he does best, charges forward, gets Heron, ensures that tank will not touch for this contest. And now Part-Time Jesus, yeah, you got to just give that point up, my friends. Part-Time Jesus, though, does not seem to see the logic and reason. It gives a little charge over instead.
Yeah, he might have been in too deep. I don't know. At this point, I hope Heron's Harem, their comps aren't crumbling. They're still trying to stick into this. There it is. Grab starts it off into a Dragon Strike combo. No defensive ult, so something should stick. Marvelous Spell, I think, with self-destruct right click, and then Rakudo going down by the Dragons. So finally, Heron's Harem getting the footing that they need here on defense.
Yeah, and I mean, they only had to commit 3 ults, I guess. Oh man, but they couldn't afford to let Jumanfo get picked there. Now Cthulhu and he was flanking. I don't quite see what he was going for. There are reses traded, so we have a 65, I believe, in favor of the offense right now. But NTWA, they were pushing, but they res McCree as Dreaded dies. It could be something, but that something is going to be them falling apart in the ground time surge. Marvelous Melon, MC Ree coming through huge.
Oh man, I mean, that looked explosive, but it was a little too explosive. We were just talking about good ult usage out of ANGEY, but right there they pop 4 actually. But we'll see if they needed those on the way into the last point here. Jumanfo pops the Ant Matrix early, trying to get a good zone out line of sight here down the corridor. McCree with another pick from the sky out of Wacky to Backy. Rakudo slamming and charging and swinging and hitting, and Jumanpo not touching, but it's actually the Valkyrie Glooba here going in for the touch, and it won't be much. 3 minutes 41 seconds on the clock for ANGEY.
Rough for HAREM's HAREM.
Score.
Yeah, no, this is looking bleak. Yeah, earlier I don't know what you asked about, whether we see Wacky on ball or like tank or whatever. What was the question there? Because to me it only happens if they're totally lost mentally, and I thought that would have happened in between the maps here, but I think they're still in it to win it. What about you?
Well, we know they've played better with Wacky on the DPS, but there's a point where when you're down 0-3, you think you need something drastic to change, and I just wondered if they would consider trying it, or they really think Wacky on the DPS is this superior to him playing the tank. And I mean, I don't blame them for not switching. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that they didn't switch. If you've come to a strong enough conclusion about what works best for your team, you have to have the gutso to stick with it, even when it's going poorly, and I respect that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, I don't think they should have switched at all. I mean, going in, they've run this configuration of players the same however many weeks that they've been on this nice winning streak, got them here to the grand finals. But okay, here it is. That's how we know. Earlier in the series, I said something about when we see Wacky on Genji. That's when you know it's out the window. That's
when you know there's a 4-0 coming.
There's a reverse sweep coming. Oh wait, 4-0? Yeah, 4-0. No reverse sweep. Yep, not scripted.
Sorry, I don't have the script. I'm still waiting for that third monitor. But here we go. What will Wacky do on this Genji? Is we got some dive DPS, but no dive tanks to go with them. And the answer is Wacky to Backy the first blood.
Yeah, and Cthulhu, he's just gonna ball out on his Doomfist pick, hoping for some explosive plays here. But he charges in, yeah, gets a pick onto McCree, and then he jumps up, see if he can get the kill onto Dreaded DPS's Echo. Misses the punch, flies away. Oh.
But he's bought his team a little bit of space here. There is no defensive res. They will have spawn advantage for a moment here in a 6v5. So what can they do with it? As Wacky is now in the back line, going to sleep, going to hell.
Oh man, it looked so good until you realize there's a second support, and no dive buddies for Wacky on this Genji. At the current moment, Cthulhu goes in and dies, and yeah, it's gonna be another reset here for HAREM's HAREM. I mean, I get Wacky and Cthulhu on Doomfist and Genji respectively. They need to just dive in and try to one-hit Kriz before anything can happen, but the trans is going to be ready for this next fight.
Yeah, Wacky, I mean, to be honest, has been useless on this Genji. 38% on the ult meter at this point. Yeah. If they're in this to play, they need to swap this.
Yep. They did they get a pick in the alleyway? Looks like they...
Yeah, well, Rakudo was pushing basically all the way back to offensive spawn.
Oh my god,
right now.
You're right. I'm over here looking at alleyway, looking at HAREM's HAREM, and Rakudo's on the other side of the map.
Cthulhu when you does come through and finds a pick onto Kriz and some damage here. This has turned into a weird fight. Some members back towards the point here as Cthulhu found a second kill. And maybe this is the chance here. Rakudo down, now HAREM and Cthulhu and you are down, though Marvelous Mel with some big picks, and in the chaos, I think the defense holds.
Yep, Wacky pleading in chat that he can build up his blade because he's not sure if he can get one. And that's where I'm at right now. This is, I mean, AKM blade territory.
Yeah,
but not as bad. I think he will get it just idly.
It's no guarantee. The rate he is going at, he is going to cut it close.
He's gonna pop it in overtime.
Okay, while we have a second 30, is Doomfist Genji with those tanks as bad as I think it is?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no coordination, there's no win condition, there's no thought process out of HAREM's HAREM right now.
He says, Wacky, let me show you how it's done, because he steals the blade and gets a kill well before Wacky ever did. Oh no.
Oh, HAREM getting gangbanged in the alley once again, and... Oh, he actually pops out the whole log! Surprise, bitch! Rakudo goes down, and maybe picks up a second one here, but he's...
Wacky has it! Wacky has it! Ryuga Wagateki! What can he do?
He gets
He
one!
finds Bazinga! Yes!
Gets
two! Those aren't over yet, my friends!
They're on the board! They're on the board, and yeah, we'll see if he sticks with the pick here. It looks like he is. He's actually just taunting them on the bridge on street space here. Yeah, he's looking like he's gonna go feed and die. Unfortunate.
Well, at least he got to die with his good buddy hand. And maybe we'll see the swap here. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're playing to win.
Yeah, but I mean,
Cthulhu is finding kills like he wants to. As Akuda almost goes down too. Who would have thought that when things are going badly, it's Cthulhu and you playing this well on the Doomfist that would be kind of a turning point?
yeah, I mean, honestly, he's their last hope here. Is Cthulhu and you just pop on Doomfist like he has in the past to be totally unexpected in the back line, but with as good of a support line as ANGEY has, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Oh, this card is moving, so that's something.
It is something. Wacky 52%. Blade check 60% even. And Dreaded DPS, he duplicates the Genji once again, loses it pretty quickly though, and flies back towards his team. There he is. Wacky's in the back line. Gets stunned by the break. Now everyone's looking at him. He wall climbs out from danger. And he's getting the heals that he needs. And they're approaching second point. This is a second point fight now. The Nano goes on to Wacky but he doesn't have the blade yet.
Yeah, they lose 2 members while they're trying to charge that blade up, but they did take one, and they're gonna go for it. The blade coming through, no nano necessary, I guess, as Wacky goes in and dies with the blade. Wacky Tabaki, for the love of God.
Fuck. Oh, no.
Fuck
After the
indeed,
nano
Wacky.
expires, he pops the blade and swipes into a Brigitte McCree. Spoiler alert, he didn't get any kills.
There are a number of legendary Baddy League Genjis that Wacky is currently adding his name into the list with. It's not a good list.
Yeah, it is not, and it's we got a minute left on the Season 8 aspirations for HAREM here. ANGEY looking strong. They look strong the whole season, but they're looking especially strong tonight. Incredibly dominant as they write their names into BOL history with this one. Smash a pumpkin for Rakudo, and let's see what we got. 40 seconds. Cthulhu New jumping in just to tag him up. Now it's the double flank. We have Wacky and Heron on the flank. The flank bros, Hog and Genji. What can they do?
Die. They can die very effectively. Wacky really record-setting on this Genji, as we now have 20 seconds to play and a full reset coming through. Cthulhu and you is kind of deep here, but I don't think Dread is going to scope him out, but Rakudo will. And this could turn into the pick that ends the series. 10 seconds, but actually, they're going to have a hard time even getting to this. No, they got hard time. Jesus is charging away. Reinhardt is on the cart. He's got the shield up. He's taking a lot of damage, but it's bought valuable seconds. There's no talk ANGEY looking to write their name into all-time BOL territory with this dominant finals, and no one else will touch this cart. And no talk ANGEY dominating the finals like they dominated the season are the BOL Season 8 champions. And what better way to wrap up this season than with a Mercy Pong?
Starts off with the res into Valkyrie. Got the multi-chain healing going on, and it's just a bunch of nice damage boosting and heal boosting.
What? They must have changed her algorithm while I've been gone, because she just got to watch the real play of the game come through from how I remember this.
They did something to the algorithm a couple patches ago, and they had a patch note that said, hey, I think we fixed that. And they did not fix that. Play of the games have been the worst they've ever been. I have no idea what it's picking anymore. But great play out of Chris, and great play out of everyone on the No Talk ANGEY. And yeah, we'll see if I can rile them in here.
Yeah, we'll see, and you know, just credit where it's due. HAREM, they had a heck of a run here. I think they should be proud that they made it this far. But in the BOL, the difference between first and not is just you get some steals in the draft, and you know there was some shakiness for No Talk ANGEY. Obviously, the midseason ban really they were very concerned about the effect that was going to have on their aspirations, but they were just so skilled that it did not matter. A very well-drafted team. Congratulations to fucking A.
I got you. Cruise Master.
Thank you, Cruise Master, for drafting this team. Definitely Cruise Master putting together No Talk We Angie, and Cruise Master getting all the credits for this one.
Yeah. I just want to say something. Yeah, like HAREM, they did a fantastic job. I think they really did show up to play tonight, and unfortunately just couldn't pull it through. But honestly, I thought this team was kind of written off for me early in the season, right? It seemed like one of those teams that was like, oh, we invest 11-25 into Wacky, and we have a bunch of rookies, first timers, like it didn't seem very organized. But once they figured out the formula, whatever they figured out that works for them, and that was Heron on Zarya pretty much and Wacky on Hanzo, it just worked. And it seemed, yeah.
There's a lot of pride in turning it around. There are so many teams that have just such weak mental games that it's 3 weeks in and you go, all right, GG, regular season's only 5. We can just abandon this entirely. And they did not do that. They made an awesome run.
Yeah. Okay.
NTWA here is where I think just wrapping up on the VOD, so we'll hopefully be able to start pulling people in a sec here.
Yep.
I mean, just absolutely dominant, one of the best POL teams ever. And they absolutely deserve to be the champions because they've just been better in basically every aspect. As we are now going to start pulling some members of our champions in here. Ladies and gentlemen, No Talk Yankee.
Oh.
Welcome to the booth. Congratulations on the win. How are you all feeling?
Bored.
Hello.
I mean, pretty pumped.
That was pretty fucking. That was poggers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that.
We all did a countdown 3, 2, 1 and said poggers at the beginning of the match. That's why we won.
So
Because we
AJ,
watched
so much for
Twitch
your prediction,
television.
Mr. Oh, I think this will be like a decent finals. It won't be a stomp. Holy fuck.
Well, yeah, we're paid to say that, so
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Keep it interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess to go into that, you seem pretty confident going into this week. I mean, having 2 bye weeks, right, where you guys are just idly sitting by, and I imagine there wasn't a ton of practice. You're not scrimming against any other BOL teams, and you just watched HAREM, basically roll through the quarterfinals and the semifinals. How did you guys feel going into this week? Was there any special preparation or strategies?
I may or may not have reviewed every match that they played last week and wrote notes about it. May or may not have done that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You did the homework.
Did the homework. We just figured out what comps would probably work best against them and their playstyle. And after the first game, it was very easy to see they were starting to tilt. And then as soon as the lever starts to tilt, you just put all your weight on it. Keep tilting them till they tilt off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
By the way.
Tilt-a-whirl?
Tilt-a-whirl.
I did my part too. I tried to set up 3 different scrims and none of them came through.
Oh, well, at least there was an
practiced a
effort.
lot.
I mean, that's more than other first place teams have done in the past.
Oof.
They kind of roll into the grand finals like, yeah, we got it, and then they do not
So,
have it.
I'd love to actually ask one of the touchy questions because I think it's on everyone's mind. But obviously, as most of the viewers are probably aware, you guys are very aware, you guys had to deal with the drama of the mid-season banning of one of your players. And I know there are teams that maybe if you hadn't been so far ahead of the pack, would have just wrote things off at that point. But can you just tell us what it was like kind of bouncing back from that situation and then obviously going on this dominant run after? Did it affect you guys, for long, or were you able to write that off pretty quickly?
It was a big. It obviously it sucked to lose Smokey the Pig or
I think
who is
Yeah.
in general if you want to pull him into it, but
He's awesome.
I think we were all
We
just
love
sad he
him.
didn't get to play, but like other than that, like we weren't just like, oh, we're fucked or anything. We're just like, yeah, let's just keep playing, have fun.
it was a lot of it was down to luck and the fact that McCree wasn't just some garbage pick that was like, well, let's just pick him to like fill out the roster. McCree was and still is a very skilled player. And at first I thought it would be really difficult, but we were really lucky because like at the beginning of the season we would sub in McCree just like for a game out of our 3 or 2. Like we'd sub him in for different maps. We kept him active and playing. He wasn't just some unactive or inactive, not ever played person in the background. So when we lost Dead and he had to take that role on the team, he filled it really great. And although his hero pool is not quite as big, he's incredibly skilled at the game, and he filled in the gap enough that we were able to succeed in the finals.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, McCree, no slouch on his own. I've played with him, and I think you and McCree dreaded. Obviously, I'm talking to you and McCree both really stepped up big as the DPS players on this team. But the DPS, we talk about a lot the DPS a lot during our cast and over the course of the season, right? But let's talk about the tank line. Fuck you. Wait. Well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the tank line and the support line a little bit, because honestly, awards are going to be coming out shortly, guys. I'll say when I'll send the email out. But I know already who I'm voting for first tank, first support. I mean, you guys kind of had the difference throughout the course of the season. Is there any kind of like special synergy between like the tank line and support lines, between the two people in each, or how does the formula come together? Because obviously you have these aggressive tank.
Aggressive is not the right word.
Can I answer this?
Go
Please?
for it.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. The strategy is Rakuto does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
And then we all freak out afterwards.
Rakuto goes ham, and I start having a heart attack, and I say, Rakuto, please. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, but mostly it works. And I get sent to the hospital after every match.
There's a lot of bills piling up because of it. It's not.
I'm not paying for any of them.
We know
At
you're
least,
not.
like 3 different times I started screaming and crying and hyperventilating in the middle of the match.
I do it for fun. I like, Schadenfreude. It's
such a tough thing to deal with. Rook will throw a fight, and you'll be like, God fucking damn it, I wish I could kick him off the team and get someone else. And then he'll single-handedly win us a fight, and it's like, well, guess it's all made up. No, it's all made up. No problem.
Give him kiss.
Yeah. And it's definitely with Rakuto and I that at first I'm like, okay, we're gonna see how this goes. And it's with him going ham. When I'm playing Zarya, I'm just like, there goes my charge. Rakuto, please come back. Rakuto, I don't have bubble for you, but it works. And when we're doing the double shield, it works too, because he just, I think Rakuto and I got really good synergy, so.
Yeah, I definitely was doing a lot of stupid things and also doing a lot, but I more so 100% fully believe that like MVPs to our supports and to Mel, like they made it so I could do really stupid things and get away with it.
I feel like we all have our super hard carry moments. It's nice.
Yeah, everyone has those moments. Like Blue, getting those sleep darts. Oh my god, and the antis.
Oh yeah.
And then Chris,
Sleep Master Flash.
yeah, we got Chris with her bomb ass like immo fields, and then Mercy like just nooming around the point, making everyone mad at her. So we protect her. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of clutch. I would definitely like to say for Blue, there's a lot of clutch nades or I call them eggs because I can. But there's a lot of clutch where we're just like, oh well, let's just go in, and then we go in.
Yeah, I just kind of throw it, and half the time it works, and I'm like, all right, that worked.
Yeah, it does work most of the time. Yeah, I'd agree with all you guys. Like, yeah, everyone stepped up when it was their time to step up. There wasn't really any weak links, and I think it was probably pretty tough for every team in this league to look at this lineup and to look at your VODs and be like, where's the weak points? Like what do we focus? Do we hard focus Dreaded? Like, do we just go for the tank line? Like, there's no good answer, I thought. And I don't think HAREM had an answer tonight, and you guys sort of rolled through with your standard practice. Swift, you got any remaining thoughts or questions?
I mean, I could probably gush about the supports for as long as you'll keep my mic hot.
Yeah, we'll keep it hot for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, let's hear this.
I don't get enough chance to shout this out while I'm casting because there's usually too much going on in a match of Overwatch. But Chris, other than like a back-to-back-to-back flank out of Heron on Roadhog, I don't think you ever get killed first on Mercy. And to anyone that has ever asked me what does a more skilled Mercy look like than like an old school Baddy League shitter Mercy, like that's it. You just never die. Even if Rakuto's playing like 2 points ahead of you. It was super thick. And I can't play Anna, so I'm not qualified to talk about anybody's Anna, but there's a lot of sick Anna tonight as well. The supports are awesome. That's not a
She's
question
so
at the
good.
end.
Blue is the
She's
best
so
Ana I've
good.
ever seen.
Oh my god.
The fat antis and
I've never like
Yep.
heard this many compliments ever for Overwatch. So
There's
wow.
never a
Oh.
cooldown
Goddamn.
that she uses badly. They're all put to really
Mhm.
good use.
There was one team fight where I just started losing my mind about. I think it was one of Blue's grenades that went out. So if you watch the VOD, I guess you'll see that.
Oh, I can't wait for my ears to bleed. That'll be great.
It was a good VOD.
Yeah, support's fucking nailed it.
Oh yeah. And
I think
like,
we all fucking nailed it. Honestly.
yeah, no, we gotta give credit where it's due. Like, Dreaded has been a really good team captain. He's been on top of things, and like he said, he watched like videos and was giving us coaching.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
Dreaded's
Chris,
such a coach.
yeah, he's such a good coach. And then Chris and Dreaded and Rakudo, they're all doing like they do really good call outs. Chris especially, like she's just like,
Yeah.
do it, get over there, like an angry mom, and you're scared she's gonna come at you with a sandal, and you're like, oh crap, I gotta go kill it. So-
Yeah, Chris has
Yeah,
really good call outs,
exactly.
and since Chris keeps calling out, then everyone else is like, oh, we should call out. So it really helps the communication.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Good,
there
yeah.
was one other tactics question I wanted to ask you guys about, because 30 and I had been kind of talking about it all match, but was there ever like a condition in your mind where you were going to swap Dreaded over to Widow, or was what you were running just that far superior to it?
So, as the person who made the strategy, so to speak, around like what maps we were gonna pick, like I was the one who was like, "Hey, we gotta play Busan. We're not playing the other maps. The Doomfist will destroy us if we do." I wanted to play Widow so bad. I've wanted to play Widow the entire night, but against their team comp, I had to concede because their team comp it doesn't work. We're so much stronger when there is a Echo plus Pharah plus Mercy comp as opposed to me doing Widow and like I might be able to get a pick, but I'd never be able to actually. They're competent enough of a team that they're tight enough and behind shield enough that I knew I couldn't put the pressure on there, and I wanted to play Widowmaker, but I knew like I'd never be able to win King's Row as Widowmaker. It had to be Echo, played Echo, because I wanted to win. So I wanted Widow. To anyone who was looking for it, I wanted Widow so bad, but she's just not viable anymore. Not right.
Yeah, I was gonna say Echo seems a little too strong not to
Mhm.
at least think about playing in the current state of the game.
Did you see the triple graph?
yeah.
Yeah. We saw a bunch of crazy shit out of
You
Echo
can't do that stuff
tonight.
with Widowmaker.
Yeah, yeah. With the Mercy Pocket especially, and when you guys ran double error like with the Pharah and Echo, it seems super annoying, and no team really had a good answer for it. HAREM obviously tonight they didn't. But yeah. Cool. Well, any other shout outs you guys like to give before we wrap up the night, wrap up the season?
Yeah, definitely. I want to point out that like I hope all the teams had a lot of fun and they all played awesomely, and like obviously there's little kinks in here with all this like the stuff and things and bobbers, but I just want to make sure that everyone is like having fun, making sure that they're all doing good. And shout out to you guys.
Correct.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thanks for running this whole biz nasty. Can't be easy running all of this stuff.
We love you, 30.
Yeah, thanks, 30.
We love you, Casper.
Okay,
We
all
love
right.
you,
Pick 30.
production.
Thank you. But I think with that, yeah, I'll wrap up the stream, wrap up the season. So that was season 8 of the Baddy Overwatch League. Who knows where the BOL will go from here. We got a little bit of time before Overwatch 2 comes out. A little bit of time. There's some other games that we might be playing in the meantime. But mainly just thank you to everyone that made the season possible, right? Thanks to the production crew. Huge shout out. Like can we like clap or something or make noise for Otterbotter on the observing deck tonight? Like honestly, I'm so thankful for that. I was able to cast for the first time in a year and a half, and it felt so good to do it with Swift. And
Nice.
so shout out to her for stepping up big time here.
So much honor.
Yeah.
Champion.
You the bomb digging.
But yeah, thanks to everyone else that shit talked in Discord or in the games and played in the games, and the team owners: Salvo, Headreaver, Blabooer, Zeticus, Cruisemaster, Valkyrior. Shout out to all the viewers. We got a bunch of random people this season who would come to the Twitch chat and be like, "What is this? This is so cool!" And they want to learn more about it and they want to
we
play.
fooled people tonight into asking if this was tier 3.
Yeah, I saw it. Dude.
What?
What did people say to him? By the way, I didn't see it.
Hopefully, yes. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, we are legitimately a tier 3 Overwatch tournament. And yeah.
With that, I'd like to announce that I'm officially going pro in this game.
Okay, now's the time to do it.
At the pro in 2020. Okay. All right.
It's so easy.
Paid in ramen packs, I guess. Okay. All right, everybody. That's it. Awards. The ballot will be sent out after this. After we do the thing, I'll send it out. Make an announcement in Discord. Vote by next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central, and there will maybe be a award show where we announce all the winners like we did last season, and maybe some pugs. You guys seem to respond really well to that. Last night we just said, hey, everyone get in here and play, and we got 12 people in like 12 minutes or 10 minutes. So keep doing that, I guess. And all right, Out of Otter.